What's up, Laker Nation? Welcome into today's episode of the Lakers Report. I'm your host, Jimmy Crowther, and right now I'm going to tell you to subscribe to the channel. Listen, the trade period opens up in less than a week. The NBA draft is just over a week away, and free agency starts in like 10 days. So if you're not subscribed to the Lakers Report, you're going to miss all the best Lakers offseason coverage. So go ahead, scroll down, hit that big red subscribe button, or you can see the link right here, youtube.com/LakersTV. I'm going to have you covered all offseason long. But for now, let's get into today's show. Now, Kyle Kuzma is not a free agent this offseason, but he does have the option or the ability to become a free agent next season when he has a $5 million qualifying offer. But the latest report from Brian Windhorst of ESPN is that Kyle Kuzma is expecting, quote, a lucrative deal from the team that drafted him back in 2017. Now, whether or not that happens remains to be seen. Listen, a lot of people, including myself, expected Kyle Kuzma to become the third option with this Lakers team. But he really wasn't even that great of a six-man option for the Lakers, and he really took a huge step back from what he's done the first 2 years. Now, granted, this is a much better team than Kyle Kuzma has ever been a part of. So what he's been asked to do this past year was not nearly as big, and the weight was not nearly as heavy on his shoulders than it was in 2017-18, his rookie year, or in 2018-2019 when LeBron James went down with that groin injury. But you can see the kind of digression, I guess you would call it, between the first three, regression, not digression, of his first 3 years. His rookie year outperforms what everybody expected out of him, 16 points per game, 6 rebounds, a good three-point shooter at 37%. The next year, he ups his points per game to 18.7 points, still hovers around that 6 rebounds per game mark, shooting only about 30% from three. But then this year, with some injuries in the beginning of the season, he only puts up 13 points and shoots less than 32% from three. Not great from Kyle Kuzma, and not great for a guy that's looking to get, quote, a lucrative deal from the Lakers. Now, you take a look at his contract breakdown and what it looks like for Kyle Kuzma over the next 4 years, or really since he's been a part of the Lakers in his rookie season. He got a bigger deal than most end-of-the-first-round rookies would have gotten. He got a $1.4 million guaranteed deal in his rookie year. Then it bumps up to 1.7, then up to 1.9, and then this past year jumped all the way up to 3.6. And then next year, he has a $5.3 million qualifying offer. And if you don't know what that is, basically the Lakers can extend that qualifying offer to him and make him a restricted free agent. But Kuzma doesn't even want to get to that point yet. He is looking to get a bigger deal from the Lakers before the qualifying offer even rolls around. So let me ask you, how much money are you going to pay Kyle Kuzma? Now, he's a bit of an older, younger prospect, if that makes sense. He's not a veteran, but he's also not a rookie anymore. With what he's done so far, I'm not going to pay him more than $12 million per year. Now, let's say you give him the qualifying offer next year, he accepts it, he's on a one-year deal, and he just balls out. Great. Give him $15 to $18 million. But I think we need to be really careful with how we're valuing Kyle Kuzma for this Lakers team, because you don't want to pigeonhole yourself into a contract situation where you have Kuzma locked up and you can't trade him somewhere down the road, or you're paying him like a second option when right now he's barely even a third option. Now let's talk about the guy that did become the third option in the finals for the Lakers. It was Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, a guy who is going to hit free agency this offseason as he plans to decline his $8 million player option. And Brian Windhorst said KCP is not going to do the Lakers, quote, any favors in free agency. So, in other words, KCP is not going to sign for less than he thinks he's worth just because the Lakers won the championship. Now, a bit of a selfish mindset here for KCP, but I understand wanting to get paid. Obviously, I would be like to make up to $8 million per year, but fortunately that's not where I'm at. But it is where KCP's at. And again, I said it, he looked like a third option in the finals, a legitimate third option, but are you going to give him more than $8 million per year over the next few years? I don't know. Now, his playoff stats, 11 points per game, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 38% from three. Efficient three-point shooter in the playoffs, really efficient in the NBA Finals, but 10 points per game as your third option, you're not going to give this guy more than $10 million per year. Now, you look at his contract breakdown. 2017-18, his first year with the Lakers, he's making $18 million. Don't give Kentavious Caldwell-Pope $18 million again. 2018-19, he signs a new contract because he was on a one-year deal. They give him $12 million. Okay, a bit more reasonable. And then they do the smart thing and they take a step back and they say, all right, we're going to give you $8 million, and we're going to give you a player option on the second half of that. He's going to decline that. He's going to become a free agent this offseason. And if I'm the Lakers, you can't give this guy more than $10 million. It is ridiculous to pay him $17 million. It's, I think, even a little bit ridiculous to give him $12 million in a year where the cap situation is a bit funky. So let me just ask you guys. Would you pay KCP more than $10 million per year? Because I wouldn't. I would give him $10 million flat. I'd say, hey, that's what you're worth. Maybe, hey, let's match your playoff points per game. I'll give you $10.7 million. There, everybody's happy. We can do it like that. But would you pay him more? Type Y for yes. If you wouldn't, if you're smart like me, type in for no. I like KCP, but I don't like him for that much. But something I do like for the right price are these Lakers face masks, including some new championship gear face masks. Go to chatsports.com/Lakers mask. Pick up any style and any amount, any packs you want to for the Los Angeles Lakers. I like this black one. It's sleek. You can wear it out. You got to go out on a date, but you also got to wear a mask. That's the right thing to do. Chatsports.com/Lakers mask. They're on sale now with our friends at Fanatics. Go pick yours up today. Get geared up for the offseason. Get ready to go back into Staples Center in December by wearing your favorite team on your face all the time for the right price with our friends over at Fanatics. One more time, that link is chatsports.com/Lakers mask. You basically could say it with me now because I love telling you about this deal. Now let's talk about LeBron James, the king himself. There was a recent report, and we actually did a video pretty recently about it, that he could miss an entire month if the NBA returns in December. Well, newsflash, in case you've been hiding under a rock, the NBA is going to return in December, but Brian Windhorst, who's always been plugged into all things and anything LeBron James, says, nah, that ain't going to happen. LeBron James is ready to play when the season begins. Now, LeBron's going on his 18th year, which is older than probably a lot of you even watching this video. And you look at the amount of games he's played each year, usually makes a pretty deep playoff run. Obviously, his first couple of years, they missed the playoffs, and you can see the regular season, still 79 and 80 games. And then he starts getting into his postseason play in 2005. And then 2007, he plays 98 games, the most he's played in his first 5 years of his career. Really, his first 7 years of his career, because he doesn't hit 100 games, including the playoffs, until he gets to 2011, where the Heat lost to the Dallas Mavericks in the NBA championship. So most games during the 11, and then you get to the lockout year, and it drops down, but he still plays 85 games. No slouch is LeBron James. Continues to go up, continues to bump up, and then you can see over those other 4 years, still playing a lot of games into the postseason. His career and his seasons are always much longer than his opponents because he's always in the NBA Finals. And then this is where I really want to turn your attention. In 2018, he played his most games ever. When you look at the finals and the regular season combined, plays 104 games. So a bit of a quicker turnaround into the 2018-2019 season, and that's where he gets injured. And that's what I'm worried about with LeBron James this year. Because it's going to be a quicker turnaround than he's ever had going from the bubble into next season in December. Is he going to be able to stay healthy? I'm not sure, and I'm a little bit worried, but the man knows how to take care of his body, and the man knows how to take care of the points that he's scoring on the court. So what I want you to do is make your prediction now so that you can come back next year and you can say, hey, look, I called it in this video. How many points per game is LeBron going to average next season? I'm going to be precise on this one. In fact, I'm going to do it for Kobe on this one. 24.8 points per game for LeBron James. That's my prediction right now. I think AD steps his up, and we'll see how LeBron turns out. Maybe he steps back just a little bit to give AD the keys. Let's talk about Danny Green. Is he beefing with Avery Bradley? Trouble in paradise for the Lakers. Now, Danny Green was recently on a podcast, as I feel like Danny Green's always on some podcast talking about something, and he says that Troy Daniels and Boogie Cousins should get championship rings for their contribution to the Lakers. Now, one thing he didn't mention was Avery Bradley, and some people were questioning it because he was not in the bubble. Are teammates like Danny Green and the rest of the Lakers, are they upset that Avery Bradley opted out? Is that why he did not give him any credit? Here's what Danny Green said on this podcast. He said, DeMarcus was there all year rehabbing. The only time he wasn't with us was in the bubble. Troy was with us most of the year, all year. Then he also did well in Denver. Did well is a relative term. The guys that have been with us on the roster and on the team, I think they all deserve an opportunity to get a ring because they were a part of the team. Now, you look at the two guys the two guards here. I don't want to bring up DeMarcus Cousins because he didn't play for the Lakers. He just rehabbed with the Lakers, which I don't think is deserving of a ring, but whatever. Troy Daniels only played in 41 games. Avery Bradley played in 49 games. Troy Daniels barely played. He averaged 11 minutes per game. Avery Bradley started and scored 9 points per game and was probably your best guard defender. So a bit puzzling that Danny Green wouldn't at least mention Avery Bradley in the same breath as Troy Daniels and DeMarcus Cousins, but maybe he didn't mention it because it's already assumed that he will get a ring. Listen, I'll give a ring to Avery Bradley. Heck, I'll even give a ring to Troy Daniels. He was there for 41 games. He contributed for some of the season. I'm sorry, I don't get giving a ring to DeMarcus Cousins. He did nothing to contribute to this team. He boosted the morale, I guess, a little bit, but I don't think so. So who do you think deserves a ring? Type TD for Troy Daniels, AB for Avery Bradley, or DC for DeMarcus Cousins. There's only one right answer if you have to choose of these three, and hopefully you're choosing the right one by typing A, B. But whoever you're supporting here, whoever you think deserves a ring, I want to make sure that you subscribe to the channel today and turn on your notifications because we've got Lakers coverage coming up all day, every day on this channel. And hey, listen, if I'm not talking about something that you want me to talk about, or maybe you got some Lakers questions, my Twitter handle, it's right here, @Jimmy_Crowther. Go give me a follow on Twitter today.